What up? This is your boy DoBoy, and this is another installment of WHHW News, where we are totally dedicated to keeping you in the loop of what's going on in the world, and we do that with a simple acronym. What had happened was. Now let's get down to business. You may have heard recently that the NCAA made the groundbreaking decision to finally start paying their student athletes. Hey, power to the people, equality for all. This is the NCAA doing a solid for all the athletes that have been lining their pockets for years, right? Nope, not really. The waters are a lot more murky once you dip your toe in it, to be honest. Now let's start at the top. NCAA President Mark Emmert. Okay, let's address the elephant in the room. He is built like Donald Trump's stunt double. He has a toupee with comb over bangs. Didn't even know that those existed. And you can tell by that Teletubby frame of his that he has never participated in athletics a day in his... Okay, listen, I'm sorry. I'm getting distracted. Let's stick to the subject at hand. Mark Emmert and his band of old, rich white men friends will never, I repeat, never willingly pay a dime for slave labor. I mean, for student athletes. You see, annually, NCAA sports programs generate around $1 billion in profit. Now, that is not bad for a nonprofit. That is not bad for a nonprofit organization, if you ask me. I almost choked up hearing that. They are about as nonprofit as Amazon, about as nonprofit as Starbucks, about as nonprofit as cocaine sales in Miami. Listen, all of these things are the same, and they are all for profit, and that is the point that I'm trying to make. And until now, NCAA athletes have been prohibited from profiting off of their own name, their own image, their own likeness. Wait, what? You mean I'm prohibited off profiting off of me, but somebody else can? But I'm me! The NCAA has been pencil whipping student athletes with pimp slang like amateurism to justify these terms in courtrooms for years, and quite frankly, it's disgusting. The NCAA has argued that it would be a mistake to create campus employer-employee relationships with student athletes. They claimed, and I quote, paying college athletes would distract in a very significant way from pursuing what they really need to pursue, an education. Huh? What? An education? This is the equivalent of hiring somebody to work at McDonald's, telling them they will not be paid regardless how many hours they work, but they can eat the food for free. I mean, I appreciate all you can eat burgers and fries, but bruh, y'all are Mickey D's. You got more than enough quarter pounders and chicken. Okay, listen, I'm getting sidetracked again. I'm sorry, let's stay focused. And let's dive into this theory that Mark and them are talking about. CBS Sports published a study on this topic with data from the Pac-12, and this is what they found. 54% of athletes said that they don't have enough time to study for tests. 80% of athletes say that they have missed a class for competition during the academic year, and overall, athletes spend up to and beyond 50 hours a week on athletics. 50 hours on sports. Now, I am no college graduate myself. Let me not act as if I am a valedictorian or anything special about the head of my class, but I do possess a humble high school diploma, and my math tells me that 50 hours divided by 5 days is 10 hours a day. A full-time job with benefits is 40 hours a week. That's 8 hours a day. So you telling me student athletes have to work an extra 2 hours a day than non-athletes, get paid nothing for it, and then get penalized if they receive any sort of benefit or financial gain from the work that they dedicated to their sport? Okay. I just wanted to make sure that this sounds ridiculous to you guys like it does to me. Moving right along. The study also concluded that while students did feel like they were given resources to succeed academically, they did not have the time to do it. So back in 2009, what had happened was Ed O'Bannon, a former UCLA basketball star, filed a lawsuit against the NCAA on behalf of student athletes in an attempt to allow them to be paid for the use of their names and likeness after graduation. That's right. The NCAA mafia was using their names and pictures for years after graduation and not paying these grown adults. In what other industry is this okay? Pimps and hoes. Okay, listen. O'Bannon actually won, okay? But did Mark and the other masses see the light and accept the ruling? No. They were going to hang on to this revenue stream like Diddy is still owning Macy's Publishing. They doubled back and they filed an appeal, but they subsequently lost that. Finally, in 2019, the cascade commenced when California Governor Gavin Newsom, this Joel Ornstein doppelganger, the guy who has a get-rich-quick scheme face, the type of guy to sell you a used car with a price that you can't beat out the door head ass. He decided to get a bill passed that would allow student athletes in California to get paid for their likeness. For some odd reason, LeBron James was there for the photo op, even though he was one of the last players that was able to jump straight from high school to the pros, never went to college. Hey, but who am I to hate on a brother for hopping in on a picture that has nothing to do with him? Get that clout, LeBron James. You ain't got to shut up and dribble at all, big bruh. I'm not sure if I'm going to watch Space Jam 2, but hey, do you. Now, this move has opened up the floodgates of freedom for student athletes across the country. Most recently, 7 new states have jumped on board, making 18 states altogether. This, and only this, has caused the NCAA to see the light. They are now worried that schools in these 18 states will have a competitive advantage with regards to recruiting. Concerns from the bosses around the country is what brought this about. So what does this mean? What does this mean, DoBoy? What are you trying to tell us? It means that now student athletes can legally be paid for sponsored social media posts or advertisements, sponsored videos on Twitter and YouTube, training lessons and summer camps, autograph and merchandise sales, free meals. Athletes will also be allowed to hire agents to help them navigate in the new NIL world. What they will not be paid for, though, is being an athlete. The NCAA really has nothing to do with any of this. This nonprofit organization still get to keep all of that $1 billion in profit. So now, if a college athlete, if they so happen to be famous enough, they may now accept money from others without being kicked out, losing everything, and being utterly humiliated. This is already taking effect. Master P's son just signed a $2 million deal, which I'm sure made the NCAA say, but there is nothing that they can do about it. See what I did there? Shout out to Master P. Great guy. Now listen, in all seriousness, I am truly optimistic for what this means for student athletes moving forward. But my heart bleeds for the athletes that this damaged back in the day. Reggie Bush had his Heisman Trophy taken away. Chris Webber was indicted by a grand jury and he had his name and reputation tarnished. Todd Gurley got suspended for being paid $400 to sign his own name. And Jameis Winston, he was so broke that he got caught up in the great crab leg heist of 2014. Do you know how embarrassing it is to be associated with a crab leg heist? Now, how much money could cats like Johnny Manziel or Tim Tebow made if they were able to profit off of their likeness? Now, listen, all in all, this is a step in the right direction. And hopefully, student athletes can start to be compensated fairly because these institutions are literally being built off of their sweat equity. And thank you to the NCAA for finally doing the bare minimum because the whispers turned into shouts from the world. Thank you for allowing these kids to make money off of themselves the same way that you do. But please, pretty please with a cherry on top, please spare us the song and dance like you did this because you wanted to do it. You did not want to do this. You had to do this. And that for now is good enough for me. I have been DoBoy, and this has been the pilot episode of WHHW News. Please like the video, comment, and share the video. Everything helps.